Hey Streets, let me tell you about this cool app that we've been using to help us along our podcast journey. So it's called Anchor and it's just really cool. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you don't have to worry about that part. You'll be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms, and Anchor will do it all for you. Also, you can make money from your podcast, and everything you need to make a podcast is all in one place. It's awesome. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. We'll see you there. Welcome to Chapter 30. I'm Miss K.
And I'm Queen T.
This is a place for those women
and men
who feel that they have no one to talk to.
We're here. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. No, it's one of my favorite topics too. Today, guys, we have for you how to approach a woman.
Yes.
I am so excited about this just because I have so much to say. Like, I feel like I have so much to say about this.
I'm ready.
Yes. So this is just a little disclaimer. We're speaking solely from our own experiences as straight women, and we don't want it to come off as man bashing or anything like that,
or bias. We're only speaking on our perspective. Your perspective, whoever you are, whatever you like, whatever you do, is welcome. And the conversation doesn't end here. Like it can continue to go, but this is just our perspective.
Exactly. And we would love to have a male perspective. So if you heard anything that we said and you disagree with it, or you agree with it, or you want to come on and tell us your perspective, let us know. We'll set something up.
For real. Would love to.
Exactly.
Because this has space for a part 2, part 3, like all that. So
yeah,
I'm here for it.
Yes. let's just get into
it.
You know what? I'm gonna start off with a question.
Okay.
Let's just do it like that.
Okay. I love your questions.
Thank you. I love yours.
Thank you.
Okay. Tell me, have you ever had an experience where a dude approached you and it just completely turned you off? Like, you could have been attracted to him and everything. Like, you looked at him and you was like, oh, okay, this is about to be it. But like, he just started talking and you were just like, you went from 100 to 0.
Yes.
Oh, tell us about it.
The approach is everything.
Yes.
You can look good, you can smell good, all that stuff, but when you open your mouth or when you start typing or whatever, however it is, if we meet in person or online, like, that's everything. So yes, that's definitely happened in person and online.
Well, so what did you do?
So what did I do? In person or like more so online? Like, which experience are you looking for?
Just give me one experience. It doesn't matter, online or in person, and tell me what he did to just like, or what he said to just kind of like turn you all the way off. Okay, so I'll go for online. So with online, obviously, like you don't see them walking up to you, so you're not, like it's just they're there, boom. So the interaction that you have with them, that's the first impression. So in that case, like if you immediately talk about sex, like I could look at your pictures, you could be a handsome man, but if you immediately talk about like sex or just something like, to me, that's inappropriate, totally turned off. It doesn't matter how your page comes off or how you look. Like, I just feel like you for everybody. I don't want it. So that's that. How about you? Where I just got completely turned off, and I was like interested at first.
Yeah. What about in person? Okay. You have an example for that?
Okay. Let me think of in person. Why is this so hard? Because I feel like yes. Okay. Let me tell you. Okay, so one day I was coming home from work. And I'm like right outside of my complex or whatever. And dude approached me and he was like cool or whatever. But then he started asking me questions like you want coke? You want weed?
What?
I'm like, yes.
What?
And when I tell you 100 to 0, I'm like, who says that to
Right.
people? Like,
Right.
are you serious? So that's a situation where it's just like the approach.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Like, what? Like, who does that? But you know what? Like we always say, T, and this is something that we've really been focusing on this year. There are some women out there that will be like, yes, I want that. Or, you know, if the guy approached them online, yes, I want to have some. Like, there's people that actually go for that. So we
Yeah.
try not to be surprised. We try to just gracefully bow out. But there are really people that really go for that approach. So I think that's where the lines are blurred for people. They don't know who they're approaching, so they just go with what they go with. And if it sticks, it
Right.
sticks.
Right. And we have this conversation all the time. Like, this one is for the dudes right now, because it's so easy for us to be like, oh, dudes ain't nothing, like blah blah, they do this, they do that. But sometimes we really have to take a step back and be like, wait, hold on. This must have worked on somebody. Like, somebody
Right.
likes this, and this is why they're doing this. And
Exactly.
both of us have had conversations with dudes where they're like, yo, you should really listen or see what some of these women are saying. And that's why they say things like this. That's why they feel so comfortable to
Exactly.
approach certain women like that, because other women like it. And I just feel like we
Exactly.
gotta do better.
Right. And you know what's crazy? Like in my 20s, I would have guy friends tell me that. And I'm like, nope, nope. Like I wouldn't believe it. And I'm not going to say I turned 30 and then I just start believing it. But I'm going to be honest. Just recently this year, which I'm 31, but for whatever reason this year, I just started really like, you know what? I have to take that into like account that there are some women that give them the green light on that. So if I was a guy, why wouldn't I come with crumbs if some women are gonna eat it up like it's a whole cake? Like why wouldn't I? Like why am I make a cake? Why I gotta do all that? I'm gonna just take these little crumbs, you know? So
Yes.
I can't even be mad at y'all guys. So don't take anything that we're saying as like, oh, male bashing. Don't, because we see our perspective for real, but we're just speaking on ours right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's crazy.
When I heard Home 2 say, do I want Coke? I was like,
I remember when you told me that, and I'm listening like, okay, you got to that part. I'm like, like,
just flabbergasted. Like, what?
crazy.
It is.
So I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Do you think guys would approach you the same way in person as they do online? Like, since I mentioned like an online example and you mentioned an in person one, do you think there's a difference in how guys approach you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's okay. Let's just give them a little bit of background. Just recently, Miss K and I decided for experimental purposes, but we have done it for personal reasons. But just recently, we went on as an experiment for this podcast. We went on dating sites just to like get a idea of the atmosphere and see, you know, what's going on out there, how people are talking, how people are communicating, and you know, we wanted to see bios and stuff like that. And the way that these dudes decide to approach online, I'm thinking to myself, they would never, ever approach me the same way in person.
Right. They wouldn't.
And it's not even always like as if they're coming off aggressive or super confident. It's just like some of them, it seems like they're using a dictionary to
Yo.
you know what I mean? Like using words that they don't even know. And I'm not saying like, you know, call them stupid or whatever. It's just like
When it's not natural. Exactly.
Exactly.
If we could
Exactly.
just
Like, you
insert
don't have to force it.
exactly. If we could just insert like 100 screenshots that we share via Facebook of just the way that they come up to it, you guys would get a good understanding. But I'm sure there's some of you ladies and guys that have been on dating sites or even just regular social media sites, you know, Facebook, Instagram, where like you just can't make up what these people are saying to you in your inbox. Like it's just like, huh? Like it's
I'm about
nuts.
to read them something.
Yes, please do.
I have a screenshot. Okay, so guys, I'm going to read this message that I received. And you let me know if somebody would approach you this way in person. Good day, gorgeous Empress. I'm Bob, That's not his real name. I had to I'm not going to put nobody on blast. How are you doing? I'm blessed always. Wanting to become acquainted with the possibility of being BFFs that lead to more. Verbal conversation would definitely allow us the opportunity and possibility of testing a basic connection. Have a blessed day. Why?
And mind you, this is a message that he messaged to you directly, not the bio. Like,
No. Yes. Like, why do I need a whole thesis?
Right.
Like, it's not. And I don't get me wrong. People are gonna be like, oh, you women don't know what you want.
Right.
Either you want effort or you don't want effort, or you know what I mean. Like, I appreciate A for effort, cool. But like, it's just too much. Like, I can tell that it's forced.
Exactly.
And I feel like there's a whole bunch of dudes on here that just be copying and pasting messages and sending it to everybody.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because these guys, like, literally, and that's short compared to some of the ones we got T. Like, literally we'll get like 4-page letters. Like she said, they're just throwing any word from the dictionary in there, and it's just not personable. Like, it's just lie. Like,
right.
Lazy.
Like, this sentence, verbal conversation would definitely allow us the opportunity and possibility of testing a bit. That sounds like a thesis statement.
Exactly. And then when you went on to talk to him, like, I remember that message from the screenshot you showed me. He didn't even talk like that with the regular conversation. So it's just like, what? Like,
exactly. Like, what? You like, the next thing you say after that is WID. Like, no. No, like, if that's how you come off,
right?
If that's your approach, then that needs, like, keep up the same energy. Like,
exactly. Get your dictionary and just go in. And didn't you say one guy was like, you asked him, like, do you send this to everybody? And he admitted, like, I tweaked this. Like, what? Tweak it, like. Throw the whole thing away.
Yeah, I was like, do you copy and paste this and send this to everybody? He was like, no. I tweaked this just for you.
Boy, bye.
I'm like, okay. So he was like, you're only supposed to pursue one woman at a time. Like, that's a real man. I'm like, you're on a dating site. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're saying anything. Stop.
Oh my gosh. When we were doing that for like the whole experiment, like, wow. I mean, it got real. And don't get us wrong, like, A for effort, but okay. You could just hit a woman up and just be like, hey, how are you? And like, just depending on the vibe and just your approach, like, it could go great. You don't have to do a whole 4-page letter, have it saved in your notes, and just send it to 20 people. Like, that's just unnecessary. So I don't need a lot. Like, I just need it to be natural, organic, and the copy and paste, I'm not for it.
Right. And I think it's, instead of making these things sound so general, if you are on a dating site and you really, like, I don't want to just come off like bashing. Like, I really want it to be helpful.
Right.
So why don't you go in? There's people that don't even read the profiles. Like, they don't read the bios. They don't know anything. They're just saying anything. So why don't you go on the girl's profile, see something that you might have a similar interest in, and talk about that. You know, let's say, for example, she writes that she likes to ride horses. You know, why don't you just go in, oh, I see you like riding horses. I do too. I think horses are amazing. And it can just flow from there. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Right.
And make sure that it's something that you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, if you are going to bring up something that you are saying is a similar interest, then let it be that, and be able to actually have a conversation surrounding that.
I agree. Especially if you have like serious intentions on getting to know the person. If it's just a sexual thing and you want to, like, that's just who you are, hey, it is what it is. If you're going to throw it out there, if it don't stick, it just don't stick. But if you really want to get to know somebody and you want to talk to a woman of a certain substance, then you need to approach her as such. Because for some women, they're okay with that. You know, it's somebody for everybody. Again, we're just speaking on us. Me, like, I'm so big on chemistry that I can't even verbalize it. And I'm so big on just like organic, just real. Like, I don't like the, you know what I mean, girl.
And you brought up a really good point when you said, if it's about sex, then let it just be that. Like, there's a lot of women, don't get it twisted, out here that's all they're looking for too.
Right.
So we're past that stage of putting up a front or trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. Like,
That part.
just be real from the jump. Let her know this is what I'm looking for. And she could possibly be looking for the same thing. And if she's not, move on.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? You're going to run into somebody that is looking for the same thing. Trust, especially nowadays.
Right. There's literally somebody for everybody. Like, literally.
Exactly. There should be no issue. Like, you should not have to front to find what you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, it's going to end up in a bad situation either way, because somebody's going to find out that this is not what they wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not going to work out. So you might as well from jump make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Right.
And if it ends up turning into something else, then you worry about that then. But at least at the beginning, you both verbalized what you wanted it to be.
Intentions.
Exactly.
Let them be clear. And again, if you're not Shakespeare, don't approach me like you like. Like, I don't want to meet that facade. Like, I don't have time for that. Like,
no, not at all. Not at all.
I'm not Shakespeare. I'm just me. Like, just be yourself. Like, we'll get so much further. Like,
just be yourself.
Right.
Like, if you take anything away from this, just be. It's okay. It's okay. And that's a really good point. Like, literally, just be yourself. We all can see through the clouds. Like, we know when somebody's putting on. We know when somebody's fronting or forcing it. And I think that more than anything is what turns us off. And no matter how you're acting, like, you could be, I don't know, you could be a really happy person and be pretending to be sad. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. But you know,
right.
But we, you know, we can see through that, and it's just like, maybe I prefer the sad person, like,
right.
or I prefer the happy person, whatever it is. Just like I'm repeating the same thing that we've been saying, but there's somebody for everybody. And I know for me, I would label myself as being a sapiosexual. And I'm about to hold on. I already have the
yeah, give them that definition, girl.
Yep, I got it ready. A sapiosexual is a person who is sexually attracted to intelligence or the human mind before appearance. So personally, for me, if there's no connection mentally, then it's not going any further than that. You know, so it's like, I need to be able to have a conversation with you.
Right.
I need for it to go any further than that. If we can't connect in that type of way, then we're not going to connect in any other type of way.
Right. And sometimes it's so evident in the approach if it's going to happen. I mean, you can't really judge a book by its cover, because you can meet somebody, the approach could have been off, but it could end up being your husband or your wife. But in a lot of cases, I feel like just based on that first initial, you know, meeting, you're like, like I can feel a vibe here. So I feel like we'll have good conversation here, or, you know, I don't. But I don't know. I'm kind of stuck between, can you meet somebody and, like, within 30 seconds to a minute know where it's gonna go, or, you know, within that approach, or do you not judge the book by its cover and give it a shot? Like, what do you think?
In my personal experience, I've had people grow on me.
Me too.
Yeah, like, I don't think you should ever in any situation judge a book by its cover. However,
right.
However, the way that you're approaching me is giving me my thoughts. You know what I mean? So It's like, I'm not judging you by your cover. You're showing me the person that you want to show me, and that person is not attractive to me.
Right. Especially online. Like,
especially online.
When we're online, we have the opportunity to display, like, you know, a really good display. It doesn't have to be fake, but it could be the best version of yourself. And I feel like you have the time to sit there and type something out. Like, let it be meaningful. Again, I don't need 5 paragraphs, but just let it be meaningful. And for me, I know every woman doesn't want this. Let it be respectful. And you can get a long way with respect with me, you know? Like, I feel like I'm so old-fashioned, but Honestly, like, it goes such a long way.
Can I tell you how many dudes that hit me up talking about, hey, chubby cheese, hey,
Yo,
delicious? Like,
same,
what?
same.
I've never heard anybody say this to any person in life.
I've gotten hey love handles, like hey
What?
MILF. Mind you, I'm not a mom.
What?
Like it's just like what? Like, and look, in person, you are not approaching me like that. So play your
Never.
position. Like just
Never.
stop. Like I'm confused. But you know what? Again, we thought about it. There are some women who are like, hey, hey. And then we also thought about it. What if we approached y'all like that? How would y'all like that? If we did our own little spin on it.
I'm gonna start doing that. Like, I'm gonna start hitting dudes up. Like, hey, man, boo.
Yo, for real.
Like, real. I swear I am.
Guys,
hey, bird chat. I
cannot. Wait. Guys, I'm gonna let y'all in on a secret. Me and T, we got an experiment that's coming out soon. I can let y'all know because nobody's gonna know when we do it. So lean in. This is the secret. We're going to create we're gonna be a guy, right?
Yep.
We're gonna create a guy's profile on a dating app, and we're going to really. We know how women are. We understand that women are different these days, but we're gonna get a first-hand experience on like the other side because this too much. It got to be something else going on that we don't know. So
I feel like there's like a whole nother world that we're gonna be like mind blown emoji.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
I'm nervous as hell for that.
Real. But if any of you guys have ever been on a dating site, like I'm sure you know what we mean, or just social media period. Again, I'm sure you know like what we mean. Like you just kind of want to see what's going on the other side of things because I feel like this is just half the picture. I'm confused. I don't understand what's going on. Like I need to know.
Neither do I. Neither do I. Okay, so we talked about bad experiences in the approach. What would be the ideal approach for you?
Okay, great question. So in person, okay, eye contact.
Yes.
You know, and like for me personally, like someone who's direct, who is like aggressive in their approach, not in a sense of like demanding
physically,
exactly, just more intentional, like when he wants to get to know me, and especially if the vibe feels right, and you know he kind of just feels like it's a go, or maybe it'll be a go. He just comes over and just real respectful, introduces himself, real simple, but just a confident, you know, guy, and just aware of the queen in his presence type of thing.
Yes.
Okay. How about you, babes?
I mean, that was perfect. The first thing that I have on my list is confidence. Like, that is just super important to me. Like, you need to know who you are as a person.
Right.
And that comes across so much in the approach. And just to know, like, what your intentions are when you approach me.
Right.
I like a good sense of humor. So if you can throw in a little joke, or don't overdo it. Right. I don't want to hear no knock jokes.
Like if you're naturally funny, right? Like,
right, exactly. Exactly. And you know what I mean? Lighten up the mood or whatever. Right. I like the directly. I mean, you know, aggressive, but not like, don't try to yoke me up. Or
yeah. Like there.
Exactly. Exactly. But and just again, be yourself. Like that will come across. It'll come across as so forced if you're not. You know what I mean? Right. I understand how difficult it is. I think men want us to know how difficult it is to approach a woman. Especially if it's a self-assured, confident woman. It's not easy for them, and I get it. But we understand, like, we can see when you are trying too hard. We can see when you're forcing it. And we can set that aside from nerves. Right. You know what I mean? Well, okay, he's a little nervous. We get it. But if you can just come across as being yourself and not being too cocky or being too shy, like, I am super turned off by somebody who's like, okay, let me give you an example. So there was this dude that he wanted to take me on a date or whatever. And the way that I had already told him yes or whatever, I wasn't really super attracted to him, but I wanted to, be open and give him a shot. Um, so I already said yes. And then like the next day he came up to me and he wanted to get my number, but he was like stuttering, like he couldn't even get the words out. And just the way that I am, okay, I was at work, so I was already like in my work mindset, like, I gotta get this done, gotta get this done. And it pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie, it pissed me off because I'm just like, spit it out, like,
right.
And I literally like took his phone out of his hand and I put my number in it and I gave it back to him. I don't want to have to do that. Like it's not. I feel like it's not that difficult to just be like, okay, can I get your number? And I feel like that's me kind of being a little insensitive, but I just knew from there that it wasn't going to work.
I don't think it's you being insensitive. I think it's just you're not really attracted to that approach or that, not to judge because I don't know him, but that kind of guy. So I think it's all in what you like. There may be some women who that turns them on. They like a man that they can make come undone. So I don't think it's insensitive. It's just that's your taste. Like you have the right to have, to be attracted to what you're attracted to.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think nothing's wrong with that.
I do not want to beta man. Like I don't. Like I love an alpha man. Alpha man. So it's like, and he may be, I don't know if it's such thing as like a low-key alpha male that comes off as a beta male. Right. I don't know. But like maybe that was my loss. But just by that, like I literally saw him talking himself up. You know what I mean? I saw him like hyping himself up to come talk to me.
And I know you, and we talked a lot over the years, so I know that's not something you're attracted to. But again, there may be a woman that's like, oh my gosh, like he's so sweet, like, so yeah, it's somebody for everybody. But and again, it made me think like, like what if, like, I don't know, is that judging a book by its cover? But not really. It's kind of judging a book by the first few pages, right?
I agree.
But I do that too. I think we all
just keep in mind that I was already semi-forcing it from the beginning.
Right.
That was just kind of the straw. You know what I mean? I already was not attracted to this man, but I wanted to give him a shot.
Exactly.
And then there wasn't really chemistry like that. Like we had laughed and joked a little bit. In my mind, as friends, like I kind of saw him as like the little brother. So then this happened, and I was just like, okay. And just so you guys know, long story short, I never went on a date with him because I was just like, I didn't want to lead him on. I didn't want him to feel like, there was going to be something because I didn't feel anything. So I'm like, you know what? And I told him, I don't want to lead you or anything like that, but I don't see you like that.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with people doing that because I think it's honest. Like you said, it could have been your loss, but then again, it couldn't have. Sometimes we got to go with our gut. But you know what it's kind of like? It's like getting a plate of food and taking a few bites, and you're like, I don't like it. It's nasty. And then you don't want it no more. It's like, do you have to finish the whole plate to know you don't like it? Or, so, I mean.
And I could not see myself literally going to sit down at a table with somebody and for an hour or 2 hours. If you know anything about me, I just cannot force anything. Like I cannot. So like I just could not see myself sitting there trying to force a conversation, trying to force a smile, trying to force chemistry. I couldn't see it. So I was just like, you know what? I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a good way to weed things out that's not for you. And I mean, sometimes when you weed things out, you do miss out on something. But hey, I think like 80% of the time, our gut kind of leads us the right way.
Right. And I kind of knew that it just wasn't going to happen because like after I agreed to go on a date, he started giving me eyes, like, and I was just like, I don't want him.
Hey, I mean,
right. So I was just like, I'm not trying to throw shade. Shout out to you, but I just knew it wasn't it.
Right, you're just sharing your experience. I don't think it's
shade. But confidence is just like, I feel like that's just number one. Number one.
For me too, because like contrary to how I am sometimes, I'm shy and I'm a bit reserved. So when a guy approaches me, like I want him to take those steps, but that's just me. Like there's some women that will go right up to a man, and you know, I see plenty of guys, and I'm like, that could be my future husband. And we doing all the eyes, we doing all that in Target, all that in the grocery store, and he don't come up to me, and I'm mad at him. Like what? But that's just me. I'm not that type of girl to be like, look, you know, like that. So I think it all depends. Like, I don't want to approach the guy.
I feel like I could be the one to approach or pursue, but I don't want to.
Let's talk about making me laugh. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I know you guys saw us talking about Make Me Laugh under this episode or the captions or whatever. And this was just kind of like, it came up actually while we were experimenting on these dating sites. And this kind of goes back to would he have the same energy online as in person? And a lot of these guys that were messaging us on the dating sites, they would say hey or hello. You know, they would have their first introductory message, but then they wouldn't have too much more to follow up with. Like they wouldn't be able to keep up with the conversation. And a lot of the times we felt like we were carrying the conversation, which is draining and boring and, you know, no chemistry.
Especially if they approached us. It's like, make me laugh. like don't approach me and then what you doing me to death. Like, I'm not for that. Like,
exactly. So I feel like it should be the same energy online as if in person.
Right.
So if you approach somebody in person, you're not just going to say hi and then just stand there and look at them. Like, you have to have some type of, or do you have anything as a backup? Do you have anything you want to ask her? Like, so I feel like a lot of times when I'm on these websites, I almost feel like I'm not putting in so much energy because these dudes are approaching me. So like when they say something, I'm just sitting there, I'm feeling like a kid on my phone, like, make me laugh.
For real. I'm the same way. And I'm not saying that it's right that I put in so little effort because, mind you, in normal settings, like, I love to have conversation. I love to talk, hence the podcast. Like, that's why we're here. We both love to talk. We both love to discuss. But so, like, when I meet somebody and the conversation is not flowing and I feel like I'm just carrying it, like, I can't. Like, I could. Like, I physically could. But I don't want to. Like, it's a two-way street. So, if a guy approaches me, let's say online, since we're talking about the experiment a bit, and he's just like, hey, I'm just going to be like, hey. He's like, hello. Hello. What you doing? Working. Oh, delete, block. Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're not doing the one word thing. I'm not about to come up with some interesting, like, it's just not happening. Like, I seriously blocked like 50 people, no exaggeration, probably more, just because, like, no, like, what's going on here?
And you know how many messages that we receive, no lie, and I'm not saying this to be cocky in any type of way. This is a fact. We could get hundreds of messages a day. So it's like, do you really think we would have time to have that type of conversation with 100 people in a day? Just, hey, hi, what are you doing? Nothing. You, nothing. About to go to work. Oh, yeah, just woke up. Like,
it's no. Don't want it. No, thank you. Bye.
Exactly.
Like, and again, it's not to brag, but any woman that, or any man that will go online, you'll see, like, with these dating apps, like, it's a lot. Like, we talk about how we're just so exposed to so many different people, overexposed, and there's just so much communication, and like, you gotta make it count.
There were times where I felt overwhelmed. I was like,
very overwhelming.
It felt like a part-time job. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, very stressful.
And then if you let it be like 5 minutes later, they replying back with question marks, oh, so you're not going to answer me? Like, okay.
Cursing us out. Like, literally we'll come to a message. It's like, this is just the guy that's speaking, by the way. It's like, hi, beautiful. How are you? Oh my God. 5 minutes later. What you doing? A day later. Hello, beautiful. Good morning. 10 minutes later.
Okay, so are there any tips or tricks for the guys that we're specifically talking about in person, approaching a woman in person? Is there anything that they should know where it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't approach this girl right now, or anything that's like a telltale sign that's like, okay, she's approachable right now? Because I feel like some dudes like pick the wrong time.
That's true.
To approach a woman, so like maybe they should know. Okay, let me talk about it.
That's a good question. I say be mindful of her vibe, because if she's on the phone arguing with somebody, arguing with the bill collector, or if she's holding a million groceries, struggling up her stairs, if you're not trying to help her, then, I don't think it's the time for you to be trying to get with her while she's upset or struggling, or if her vibe just isn't right. I mean, I guess there are some cases where there was a happily ever after love story that followed that. But for me, I'm not going to lie. A lot of guys approach me in person, like at my worst, or if I'm at the laundromat, I got the bonnet on, or bonnet, by the way, I pronounced it wrong. Or if I'm just like, doing something else, like that's when I notice I draw men in. And I've had a few other people tell me they get approached a lot at the laundromat too. So, I mean, I'm not saying if I'm dealing with life, you can't approach me, but just make sure, like, I don't know. I really don't know. For me,
I think
go.
I think being mindful is just it pretty much sums it up.
Right? Okay.
Like take yourself out of it for a second, because I know some guys are just like, I see this woman, she's attractive, I want her, I'm gonna go for her.
Right.
Just think outside of yourself for a second and just look at her and see, try to get a feel of her vibe and see if she even seems approachable in that moment.
Right.
And then go from there. Just take a second. Take 3 seconds before going in, and then be able to deal with the consequences later.
If her kids is screaming and she got a bunch of groceries in her hand and she's trying to chase after her kids, that might not be the time. But I'm stuck between that and when you find the one and you see the one, like, you gotta go for it, because you never know.
I was just thinking that too.
So I'm like stuck.
I was just thinking that, like, you just gotta go for it, actually.
Right, because I can name plenty of times I've seen guys that I really thought was the one, just based off of the eye contact, I guess, or just the chemistry. And neither one of us approached each other, and like 10 years later, I'm like, did I just miss out on the love of my life or what? So
nope, because he would have approached you.
That part, because what's meant is meant. So yeah.
Okay, so I take that back. I feel like just go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
Yep, just go for it.
Yeah. So timing is everything. Like, when you want to approach somebody, it's really important just to make sure the timing is correct. But T, quick question. So since you like men that are more so aggressive in their approach, how should a guy that's like introverted, like how should he approach you? Or should he even approach you?
He shouldn't.
Okay, so how should he approach me? Or how should he approach, Becky or Janet? Like, how should he approach somebody else? What would you say? I'm here for an introvert. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm here for that. How should he approach us, though?
That's a really good question, because you know what? I'm not an introverted man, so I can't I don't really know how it feels to speak on what they should do. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I do consider myself an extroverted introvert. Like, there are parts of me, once I'm comfortable around people, that I'm super extroverted. But if I don't have that comfort, then I'm definitely an introvert.
That part.
So, being that comfort is, I guess, in my idea, a major part of being an introvert, I would say try to, if you can, but we're talking about the approach.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to
like, if he's
comfort.
shy, but he's a good man, he got all your personality traits you like, but he's not even shy. He's just not one to, he's not that aggressive. But like, he deserves a chance. Like, he need love. What should he do?
introverts need love too.
I would love to have like a guy's perspective on this. So any guys that are listening, or please in the comment section or wherever you can, like let us know like how you feel about this, especially this part, because again, like you said, like you're not a man, so
right. I would love to know like a success story of an introverted male who like approached a woman and it just it all has to do with being yourself. I'm sure if you just go up to a woman and you be your introverted self, that she just be okay with that.
Exactly. Because again, if you're an introvert and all of a sudden like you're trying to act like, somebody that you're not, it's not going to come across like real. So
exactly. So I think everything kind of just boils down to being yourself, no matter who you are.
That's so true.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So true.
So I feel like, okay, I think this is perfect. If you are, let's say you're a super, super shy dude, right? And like you said, he knows he's a good dude, whatever. Just go up to the girl and be like, I am so shy. You know what I mean? Like, say that. Be real. Be like, I am so shy. I'm so nervous. And maybe she'll just, like, go from there with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so shy. I'm so nervous. But I think you are just so beautiful. And I want to get to know you.
I would melt hearing that. Like, it's real.
Do you think that's good?
I would melt. Depending on, if the chemistry felt right. And if he was cute, like, and smelled good. And, I'd be like,
oh, smell good. I think that's a huge factor of approach that we didn't talk about that.
The physical and the scent and all that. It's true.
That's major.
I have a question too.
Yeah, go ahead.
The club. What's your idea on that? Like guys approaching women in the club. Like, do you think it's different than any other location or?
Well, as a member of Chapter 30,
Chapter 30.
I can't remember the last time I was in a club.
Yo,
but I'm guessing it should be the same thing. You know what I mean? If you in the club, if you're a woman in the club and you're in a guy in the club, then you guys are in a mutual setting, like that, you both enjoy going to.
Right.
So grab her by the arm and say, hey, let's bar hop together.
And you know what? I think
that's cute.
It is cute. If she, trusting of you.
Not grab her up like that, but hey, let's bar hop.
Right.
Let's buy you a drink.
Right. Especially like if it's you and your crew, him and his crew, like that could be a fun situation.
Yeah.
What's funny? Like I look at the club like how I look at like online. Like I feel like it's two settings that because of the settings it can kind of like determine the approach. It makes it a little different. Like I feel like when you're in the club, people are maybe they had a few drinks, maybe they're more in a different mood. Like I feel like the approach would be different. And I feel like when people are online, they just do anything. So I feel like setting determines the approach too. If it's church, I just feel like it just depends on I think the setting plays a part in how the person will approach you.
Setting that's a very good idea that you just brought up. I'm sorry, I'm actually looking up some lyrics to this song that you just reminded me of.
Okay.
So go ahead and keep talking to the people.
Okay. I mean, since we're talking about songs, I got me a song too. So I just mentioned this song to T. It's called Love Me in a Special Way. And it's by DeBarge. Love them. And there's a part that I will always freaking post on Facebook because it's like, it's my life. So, obviously the song is called Love Me in a Special Way. So that should tell you a lot. But there's a part in here. Okay. He says, love me now because I'm special, not the average kind who'd accept any line that sounds good. So reach into your chain of thoughts. Try to find something new because what worked for you so well before, for me, it just won't do. Like, that part is me. Like, when guys approach me, in my head, I'm saying that. I'm like, what worked so well for you before, for me, it just won't do. Like, that's just me. Like, I live in a musical, so.
That part.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love it so much. That's one of my favorite songs, guys.
And you can tell when somebody's approaching you in a way that they've approached 1,000 other women.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I said before, like, if you're online, it's different online and in person, but like pick something out of her biography. I mean, her biography, out of her bio or her profile that's specific to her.
Totally agree.
So don't just approach me in any old type of way or
Mm-hmm.
any way that you've approached everybody else and think that's going to work with me. It may,
Right, right.
but try, at least try, put into the effort to make it specific or tailored to me.
Right. And again, it's all about intentions, because if you really don't care and you approaching me just to see if it's going to stick, like, you really don't care. But if you really are trying to approach somebody that you like really think, you know, it could be something special or worth your while, then I say be yourself and just go for it. Like, do your thing.
Mm-hmm. I
What's
found
your
my
song? You
lyrics.
found it? Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I don't think he's too popular with a lot of people, but his name is Hobson.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rapper, and the song is called "Ill Mind of Hobson 5." And he says, it's the club where guys put on a new persona. After they get loaded with a few Coronas, they always shouting and wild out with habits that very few condone of. Then they look for beautiful, brainless bees like
Mm.
you to bone them.
Mm. That's very fitting of the whole club vibe.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. What's the
So
name of that song?
it's called "Ill Mind of Hobson
Oh
5."
yeah, you did say that. Sorry. Okay. Okay. I gotta listen to that.
Hobson, I could do a whole episode on Hobson, but
He underrated.
he's been out for years, Corinne.
Those be
Years.
the ones though. They be sleeping on the right
Yes.
people though. So
Yes. I think the first time I heard a song from him was in like maybe like oh eight, maybe 08, 2008, 2009. But and he's still
I
coming
gotta
out with
Google
music.
him.
He just dropped something this year.
How do you spell his name? I'm gonna Google him.
It's Hopsin.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite songs of his. But
Okay.
so I don't want to say that everybody that goes to the club,
Right.
you know, bad people or they're just looking for this or just looking for that. But sometimes they are, and sometimes that's just what it is. So just be
Mm-hmm.
mindful of, like, you know, like Miss K said, be mindful of your settings. So if you're going to the club, just realize that there are people in there who have been drinking, have been smoking, have been doing drugs, and again, you could be walking down the street and somebody could be drunk approaching you, but
Exactly.
that's the setting. You know what I mean?
Right. The same.
So just keep that in mind that who this person who's approaching you may not be who this person really is, because
Mm-hmm.
they be under the influence of whatever.
Oh my gosh. One last song, because your song reminded me of this. When I
Yeah.
used to go to the clubs and when I was younger, hence this is the old song. Some of y'all not gonna know, but it's called Hey Ma by Cameron. I
Hey.
always wanted a guy to approach me just like this.
Yeah.
You already know what part. Now I was downtown clubbing ladies' night. Seen Shorty, she was crazy right. And I approached baby like, Ma, what's your age and type? She looked at me and said, you's a baby, right? I told her I'm 18 and live a crazy life. Plus I tell you what the 80s like. And I know what the ladies like. Need a man that's polite, listens, and takes advice. I could be all three, plus I could lay the pipe. Now, in the Chapter 30 Club, y'all know that song. And some other people, y'all know that song too. But that used to be my part. Like,
Yes.
every time I went out, like, I just wanted that to happen to me.
Yes.
I love that verse. I can't.
Oh, you know what I want to mention too?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of touched on it a little bit when we said be mindful.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're approaching a woman, and you're already have started that conversation, just kind of look and be aware of how she's reacting to you. You know, like look in her eyes, see if she's giving you, you know when somebody's attracted to you.
Right.
So like, see if she's giving you that, like, I don't know, those bedroom eyes or those, oh, he's so cute eyes. If she's giving you little taps on the shoulder, if she's laughing at every single word you said and you didn't even say anything funny, she's blushing, she's playing with her hair, she's touching her clothes, like all little things like that, just pay attention to and be aware of, because then you know, okay, I'm gonna shoot my shot.
Right. Because we do give a green light. Like,
We do.
we do. In some way or form, like, it's going to show. So be mindful. I totally agree.
Exactly. It could be subtle, but these are the things that you need to be paying attention for. Because you can't just come up to a girl and be like, oh, hey, what's up? Let me get your number. Some girls that may work for it, but some girls you got to put a little work in. And you'll know. We will give you, like Corinne said, we'll give you the green light to let you know that what you're doing is working.
Right. Even if we're playing a little hard to get. I mean, this stuff varies so much because it all depends on what you're attracted to, you know, what you're attracting, and the setting. Like, it has so many different variables, but it's definitely something that that matters. Approach does matter.
I agree. Okay, so to sum up this whole chapter, I'm gonna say what I got from this was, because guys, honestly, this was freestyle.
It was such a freestyle. We was all over the place.
All over the place. So what I got from this was that when attracting a woman, a guy should be mindful. Mm-hmm. He should be himself. Mm-hmm. He should be confident. And he should tailor his approach to that specific woman. If that's what, you know, if he's looking for something serious. And if he's not, then he should be honest in that and let her know.
That summed it up perfectly.
Thank you.
I definitely co-sign.
Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had so much fun recording this episode.
Yes, it was so fun. We can't wait to hear your feedback. We want to know about how you approach people, ladies and gents, and how you like to be approached, all that. We want to know all that.
Yeah, see you guys next time.
See you next time. Love you. Bye. Thanks for listening, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
And don't forget to follow all of our social media platforms linked below. And remember, peace, love, and perspective.